In just 11 minutes, uncover 10 explosive takeaways from Patrick Bet-David's clash with StephenASmith on the PBD Podcast. From why the WNBA can't handle Caitlin Clark's fame to political betrayal, media collapse, woke backlash, and Smith's shocking presidential hint. Takeaway 1, WNBA can't handle Caitlin Clark's fame. StephenASmith did not hold back when addressing the chaos surrounding Caitlin Clark's explosive entry into the WNBA. He made it crystal clear, the league is not ready for her level of fame, attention, or market power. In fact, Stephen bluntly stated that the WNBA seems completely unprepared for a player to generate this much excitement, and even more uncomfortable with the fact that the spotlight isn't evenly shared. He highlighted the racial undertones at play. According to Stephen, some players appear to resent that a young white woman is being treated like the face of the league before she's even played a full season. But Stephen didn't flinch when defending her value. She's like Steph Curry, he said, drawing a comparison that elevates Caitlin Clark into the highest tier of game-changing athletes. She isn't just popular, she's profitable. For example, when Caitlin missed 2 games due to injury, ticket prices plummeted. In one case, a ticket worth $86 dropped to just $25. Another fell from $41 to $14. The message? She's the reason fans are showing up. She's not just a player, she's the engine moving the entire WNBA forward. Stephen argued that the league should embrace this instead of fighting it internally. Yet many within the league, both players and perhaps leadership, seem to be struggling with how fast the spotlight has shifted. This isn't just about basketball, it's about power, perception, and legacy. Caitlin Clark is not being treated like a savior. She's being treated like a threat. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 2, resentment in sports is natural and useful. Building on the tension Caitlin Clark is facing, Stephen A. explained that jealousy in sports is actually a long-standing, natural part of competition. What Clark is experiencing isn't entirely new. It's part of a pattern. When greatness enters the room reacts, and often it reacts with bitterness before it accepts brilliance. Stephen compared today's criticism of Clark to how Michael Jordan was treated early in his career. Jordan wasn't universally loved when he came into the league. In fact, he was resented by veterans who couldn't handle how quickly the spotlight left them and landed on him. The same pattern is now being repeated, just in a different league and with a different face. He brought up Angel Reese, another rising star, who has publicly declared that she wants to be the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. According to Stephen, this ambition is rooted in rivalry. Watching someone else climb higher can either crush you or motivate you. And in the world of sports, that kind of pressure cooker is where the best stories happen. Stephen made it clear, resentment is not only natural, it's productive. It fuels better games, stronger personalities, and more invested fans. When you see someone like Caitlin Clark dominate headlines and take the lion's share of endorsement deals, it stings, but it also raises the bar. It creates a stage where greatness has to be earned and proven again and again. And that, he said, is what sports are all about. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 3, NBA needs more villains and young stars. Stephen then turned his attention to the NBA, where he sees a different problem. The lack of rivalries and true villains. According to him, modern basketball is too friendly, too polished, and too focused on branding over beating your opponent. I don't care what's going on. I want to see animosity in sports, he declared. His view is that when players genuinely dislike each other, even if only on the court, it creates unforgettable moments and fuels emotional investment from fans. He pointed out that today's NBA is full of talent, but it's missing the raw edge that once made it electric. Players shake hands before tip-off, vacation together during the off-season, and rarely talk trash in public. Stephen believes the league needs more Tyrese Halliburtons and Anthony Edwards, young stars who aren't afraid to ruffle feathers, create rivalries, and stir drama. Halliburton, in particular, was praised for bringing tension to matchups and not backing down from the spotlight. The NBA once thrived on intense player clashes. Magic versus Bird, Jordan versus everyone, Kobe versus the world. Those weren't just games. They were battles that defined generations. Stephen is calling for a return to that spirit, and he sees the same opportunity emerging in the WNBA with Caitlin Clark. If the league leans into those rivalries instead of pretending everyone should get along, it could explode in popularity. Right now, sports need characters, heroes, underdogs, and yes, villains. Caitlin Clark didn't choose to be the villain, but it seems like the league and some of its players are handing her that role. The question is, will she own it? Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 4, StephenASmith might run for office. StephenASmith surprised many by saying that he's not ruling out a run for president, possibly in 2028. He talked openly about being listed ahead of Kamala Harris in some unofficial polls and hinted that if he did run, it would be on a platform that blends conservative values with real-world experience. While he hasn't made a final decision, he's clearly thinking about it more seriously now. He's launching a political show alongside his sports content and is already laying down groundwork in the public arena. Stephen said, "You going to throw your ass in jail? That's what I would do," pointing to how strict he'd be on crime if elected. For example, he mentioned how he admired a viral video where a mother physically stopped her son from throwing things at police officers during protests, saying that kind of discipline is what's missing in our society today. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 5, both parties are failing the people. StephenASmith did not hold back when discussing the two-party system in America. He criticized both Democrats and Republicans for prioritizing power over people. He said many politicians enter office and end up serving the interests of lobbyists instead of citizens. Stephen believes that true change can only happen if we move past party loyalty and instead focus on doing what is best for the country. For example, he pointed out how lobbyists on Capitol Hill often pressure lawmakers into making decisions that benefit corporations, not working-class Americans. We're halfway through the video. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're enjoying it, hit the thumbs up and share it in your WhatsApp groups. If you'd like to support us, please tap the thanks button below. It helps us keep making great content. Drop a comment and don't forget to hit subscribe for more. Now let's continue with the video. Takeaway 6, media trust is collapsing fast. Stephen discussed how mainstream media is losing trust rapidly. He brought up CNN's Jake Tapper in his failed book launch. Tapper's book flopped hard and viewership for his show dropped too. Stephen's theory is simple. The public no longer believes these people are telling the truth. He said, "It's almost like the audience is sitting there saying, 'I don't believe you. I don't trust what you have to say.'" For example, after Tapper started calling out some Biden policies, left-leaning media began turning on him, exposing just how fragile and performative the trust in news networks really is. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 7, woke culture is forcing fake unity. StephenASmith explained that the problem with woke culture is not in demanding rights, but in enforcing agreement. He said, "We went from fighting for civil rights to forcing people to embrace what they may not agree with." In his view, it's one thing to support LGBTQ rights, and another thing to be told that silence means hatred. For example, he criticized how Sesame Street's tweet celebrating Pride Month received massive backlash and pointed out that this kind of forced alignment is dividing people more than bringing them together. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 8, fixing the economy is the top issue. Stephen said clearly that if he ever ran for president, fixing the economy would be his top issue. He stressed that economic pain hits everyone, no matter what race or background you come from. He also said the reason many people in America act recklessly is because they have nothing to lose. For example, he explained how California blew a massive hole in its Medicaid budget by offering benefits to illegal immigrants, which he believes is financially reckless and unfair to tax-paying citizens. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 9, border control directly affects your wallet. StephenASmith believes the border crisis is not just about crime or immigration, but also about economics. He said spending state money to cover healthcare for illegal immigrants ends up hurting citizens. That drastically affects the economy, he said. He isn't against immigration, but wants it to be legal and controlled. For example, he pointed out how California's budget struggles are partly due to massive spending on undocumented immigrants through public services, leaving less money for other residents. Now let's move to the last takeaway. Takeaway 10, law enforcement must be respected. Stephen made it clear that he supports police, but with accountability. He said, You're not going to be a rogue law enforcement official, but if you take a vow to protect and serve, you'll have my support. He told stories from his own life, including how he always lowers his windows and shows his hands when pulled over, not because he likes it, but because he respects law and order. For example, he called out Tyreek Hill's case and criticized how it escalated simply because Hill didn't roll down his window when asked, saying that kind of defiance only leads to bigger problems. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support this channel, hit the thanks button below. It really helps us keep going. If you enjoyed this summary, please leave a like and share it in your WhatsApp groups. To join discussion about this video, drop a comment below. And for more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below.